In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Ritz Furniture specializes in quality furniture for affordable prices. Our extensive inventory highlights top brands and provides everything you could ever want. You can count on us for kitchen, dining, bedroom, and living room furniture, no matter what the style is you have in mind. Stop in with your family and look at our amazing selection to find the perfect fit for your home. Contact us today to see how we can make a difference in your home.
Hello and welcome into Inside the SMC, presented by Team FYN Sports. Jake West, Brandon Stevens, heading into round 2 of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association state playoffs. We'll take a look at the bracket in a second, but we've got Smoky Mountain Conference teams advancing, Brandon, to round 2. Hayesville pulls off the upset over Union Academy 37-35. Robbinsville defeats Thomasville 20-7. That game was close at halftime. 62-6, Murphy beats Highland Tech. Eastern Randolph gets the best of Swain County. Cherokee beats Carver at home. Starmount 51-0 win over Andrews. Of our Smoky Mountain Conference teams, anything kind of go differently than you thought it would before they took the field?
No, I think that the big surprise for me had to be the Hayesville game with Union Academy. Coming out and doing what we know that they had the potential to do, and especially Union County thought they were packed and ready to come to the mountains, or to face off rather against Hayesville. They weren't in the mountains, but I thought that that might be the only difference in there. I thought that might be a Union County or Union Academy game going into the first round of the state playoffs, but. Good luck, Hayesville Yellow Jackets, in the next quest, and of course all of them: Cherokee, Murphy, Robbinsville, and of course a little bit of drama could spring up in the third round. But third round, Jake, just real quickly, I think there's some exciting games, I believe, in the second round of the state playoffs that they're coming up. I don't see a surprise really jumping off the page in the Western bracket too much. South Stanley Starmount could be a good game. Mount Airy advanced them on. I think they get past Mountain Island. But in the East, the West is playing one game at a time, survive in advance mode. But I don't see really this week, maybe just to me, like a dull game, dull week, except for that Perquimans Warren County game. That might be relatively close. You might have another one in there, but pretty much you've got either highly rated against a lower rated team, and I believe this is just almost a good practice week for the East, just to put it lightly. Although let's get back to the West, where we're more concerned. Mount Airy and Mountain Island, the Granite Bears are looking to get that repeat, and they're rolling. I mean, look at them in the first round of the state playoffs, and Mountain Island really has to work against Bishop McGuinness. So Mount Airy, push them on into the third round. South Stanley and Starmount, I think here, just giving you my first thoughts, this one might be a slight upset, because I think that there's a little more push, a little more oomph behind Starmount.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, no reason to spend any time on Mountain Island Charter. That's going to end up another 68-0 or 68-6 game. Granite Bears will keep rolling. South Stanley and Starmount, that game will be, I think it will go in Starmount's favor. I don't have the exact lines pulled up, but I'll pull them up here in a second. I would say Starmount's probably even favored in this one, even though they are going on the road. But just looking at the first round, 34-7, South Stanley, they take care of business against Avery County, but that's not a very good Avery County team that we've been traditionally seeing. And then Starmount 51-0 shutout of Andrews, just protecting their home turf. So yeah, that's definitely a game to keep an eye on right here. South Stanley and Starmount. But Corvian 49-0 kills Elkin. Mitchell 39-28 beats Drawn. This is another game, just like the one we were just talking about, Corvian and Mitchell. That's going to be one to keep an eye on.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Corvin facing Elkin's been in a bit of a slide for the last few years. As I've said last week, this is a team that traditionally was tough. It was the doorway to getting to the state championship. It was one of those teams that you're probably going to meet up. There's always a Surrey County team afterwards that you might meet in the regional finals, but Elkin was the doorway. Not so much these past couple of years. Doesn't surprise me that Corvian does what it did. Mitchell, it's suffered a little bit through the flood. Travis Pittman came down to the Murphy-Robbinsville game talking about some of the struggles. The team has held up. Just clearing out some debris because, that Mitchell likes to walk out of the woods to begin the game. He's like, I can't do that. A lot of down trees, a lot of things going on, but really just nothing there getting in their way of being a power. I would, if I were looking at a different not shutout, but a different upset, I might look at this one as Drawn as coming down from that Valdez area. We know the power they have. They can RPO. They have traditionally had some really good players. That was a surprising football game. I thought maybe Drawn might have an upper hand in that one, as I mentioned last week. But Mitchell doing the work, and so I think Mitchell may have a little juice there. Wouldn't surprise me if they move on to the third round in this case. But this one will be a good football game.
Yeah, I got the predictions pulled up here. Corvian is a 21-point favorite at home, 80% chance to win this game against Mitchell. And like you said, Mitchell struggled down the stretch. Last game of the year, I believe, they lost to Avery County, and then gave Avery County their second win, 2-8 on the season.
Wow.
So it just kind of depends on what Mitchell team shows up, whether they can give Corvian a run for their money. I know Corvian is right outside of some big schools. They get that however many mile radius that they can get kids from. So they've got some really good athletes. They showed during basketball season last year just what kind of athletes they had. Kind of shocked everyone when they took as deep a run as they did in the basketball state playoffs. I think they were state runner-ups or Western Regional runner-ups or something like that. But they've got the dudes that just, takes these charter schools longer to develop in football than it does in basketball, but undefeated on the year. And they look like a power this season on the football field. We'll see what Mitchell and Coach Pittman has up their sleeve for the undefeated Corvian community football team. Cherokee takes care of Carver. Easton Randolph 49-0 victory over Swain County, and I think both those games went exactly like we thought they would.
Yeah. In that one, it was just really a struggle for Swain County to get any kind of offense. I think Owen Medlin had about 70 yards. There was, and in this one, Jake, we were mentioning if it's Swain County showed any kind of promise, you couldn't make any kind of mistakes. And one interception that with Owen Medlin and his passing attempts, that was his only passing attempt that he made in that football game. But otherwise, just looking at that, it was a rather weaker night for the Swain County Maroon Devils. On the other hand, just looking through, I was trying to see what kind of numbers that Eastern Randolph posted up. Doesn't really matter. The this one, same message to the Cherokee Braves. No mistakes. You better be hard hitting. This is a really powerful football team, and in my expectation, if you can maintain good ball control. I was trying to get a hold of Tim Hawkins. Didn't get a hold of him this week as things kind of get past you. I'd like to see what thoughts are, but that's again, it's a long road trip to face this team. No easy way to get into Ramseur, North Carolina, and expecting it to be a good cold football game. This is going to be a miserable setting to face this team. Again, they do it all. They can run, they can pass, they can just command the field. And I was looking for team leader, but anyhow, long and the short, this one can get away from Cherokee if they're not very careful. My thoughts on this, it's an easy 42-7 football game, Eastern Randolph.
Yeah, I agree. Cherokee did a good job last week against Carver of us, spreading the love. They did nice balanced attack. They got it done through the air. They got it done on the ground, 100 and something yards from Santiago on the ground, and then 100 and something yards through the air out of some good quarterback play. No interceptions, no fumbles, I don't think. And that's what Cherokee can be. If they can be sound, fundamental, then they can be a tough team to beat. That's why they were, runner-ups in Smoky Mountain Conference. But it's just, it's that time of year where you go and you play teams that on paper are better than you, and on paper Eastern Randolph is better than Cherokee. I'm not saying Cherokee, can't pull off the upset, especially with the spread offense that Coach Hawkins runs. A couple big plays here and there, Cherokee could stay in this thing, but I think you're right. More realistically, it's like 41-7, 41-8, something like that. Eastern Randolph takes the victory.
I'm sorry, but I think you're exactly right with how that Cherokee did its offense. When you throw the ball, one, kudos to Jonathan Saylor. Had a really high percentage, 70% of his passes completed, a touchdown pass that was made that built up the stats. Rushing Brandon Santiago, a couple touchdowns and did well. But that mix and being able to get the big play, that's going to be critical here. And maybe one of the things to get around the Cherokee Braves, use a bit of your speed and rely a little bit, put the ball in Saylor's arm and let it sail, so to speak, and see what happens. That might be the chance where you pull things together and make a point or two on Eastern Randolph. Otherwise, running it up the gut, the old the dives and the traps, that's going to be tough to get in between the tackles.
Moving on, Murphy takes care of Highland Tech. They will host Christ the King, who pulled off the upset of Allegheny. Bessemer City and Robbinsville will also play after Robbinsville takes care of business against Thomasville, and Bessemer City takes care of South. So, Murphy and Christ the King, I don't think that's going to be much of a football game, if you ask me. So I'll just go ahead and tell you my reasons why. First, I think this is going to be, Murphy 42, Christ the King 7, something like that. That's because, Murphy, when they play teams that are, don't quite have the firepower that they do, they kind of put them away early. They're rolling, and at this point in the year, they know they've got to go out and take care of business. If Christ the King has any chance, they'll need some more of those 60-yard touchdown runs from Brennan Wallace, like he had last week in the upset of Allegheny. And I think while Christ the King, they have a 1,000-yard passer in their sophomore quarterback. How do you say his name? Everett.
Yeah.
He completes passes about a 50% clip. But and even though he has 1,200 something yards, his touchdown to interception ratio is very poor. 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and with a ball hawking secondary like Murphy has, I just don't see this game being, quite frankly, being close. You may think differently, but I think Murphy rolls on into round 3.
All right, let's let's work backwards. I think you're entirely correct. If Murphy sticks to its game plan, does what it needs to, executes, takes care of the ball, you're going to see exactly what you saw. And I think it was really wise. Number one, last week it was a good play of exercise for the Murphy Bulldogs. Had rolling clock situation in the second half, and you got to see a lot of different substitutes coming into that football game. From Peyton Bain at quarterback to Blake Davis running the ball. And then right at the very end, last few seconds dying off, I think fans won't forget Way Heron running in the last touchdown when the seconds were clicking off the clock with about, I can't remember if it was like 15 seconds, but ran the ball 80 yards for a touchdown. Time ran out, so we didn't get to see Jerry Bowie come on and kick the point after, but it didn't matter, 62-6. In that football game, the ball passed around to so many different players from Grayson Hall to Cameron Clem, who made some magic happen, and Cadence Leatherwood, and so many different people getting good play. Landon Lape was a man, handling the line. Chandler Nernez to Janthony Gooden. It was all good for Murphy on that Friday night to get offense and defense exercised. Now let's advance. Christ the King, number 16 seed. Yeah, they're a much better team, but they faced a team that's been kind of an upset with. I thought Allegheny would be the opponent, the Trojans this week, but Christ the King muscled their way. So that tells me one. The expectations that a lot of people have. This is a very athletic team. They know how to move, but this is a very young team. It's got doggone near close to 70 people on the rosters. The roster's 3 pages long, and out of that you have about 10 seniors. Not all of them play. Mostly you see sophomores and juniors playing on this football team. Errett is a sophomore, and really their star running back is a fellow named Rhett Decker, who's a freshman. But all around this team and the offensive setup, young team that moves. They set up and spread. They'll move the ball. They'll be a threat. And this one is where Murphy has to wake up and not assume that this is just a weaker sister coming in. Yeah, they're 19 in their rankings, but they have some abilities. But in the end, this will probably be a nice Murphy win getting into the third round. Now, Jake, move from Murphy to Robbinsville, and I think even with the Murphy folks, they're looking for a Murphy-Robbinsville rematch 1 week from Friday. And I'm not so sure with that. My doubts are coming that Bessemer City may best the Black Knights.
Well, let me tell you, I've talked to a lot of people that feel the same way, that Bessemer City, it's going to be Bessemer City versus Murphy, Bessemer City versus Murphy in round 3. They think Bessemer City is going to take care of business against Robbinsville. I'll tell you why that's wrong and why that's so deceiving. While this game is on the road, it's against a Bessemer City team that I think honestly has no business being ranked the 6th seed. They're the 6th seed due to a flaw in the rankings. Finished 3rd in their split 1A, 2A conference, but they were the highest placing 1A team. Therefore, they got the conference champions seeding. They're 8-4 on the year, which looks good on paper, but they have not beaten a team that is above 500 this season. The 8 teams they've beaten have a combined record of 20-65. In week 4 of the season, Bessemer City lost to Union Academy at home by 10 points. Last week, Hayesville traveled to Union Academy and beat the Cardinals 37-35. So I think they are just lucky to be here. I think now I'm not saying I don't think Robbinsville is a state championship winning football team right now, especially with some of the players that they had not being out there as a part of the team right now. They lost probably their top athletes, top football players, but so they're a weaker team than they were all season. But they got to rely on some JV guys. I just think Robbinsville got a good draw. They got Thomasville, they got Bessemer City, and they got Murphy, who they've lost to at home, thanks to a Cannon Brazil pick six. Robbinsville got a really good draw in the playoffs. They haven't been able to say that in the past few years, but really good draw this year. They play a fraudulent Bessemer City team, and I think if they don't win this football game, then it's an upset that Bessemer City beats Robbinsville, even though the seeding says otherwise.
I think one thing to counterpoint to support what I'm talking about, Gavin Chastain is their quarterback, and he can sling the ball, as we say. That's one of the scarier parts, and he has quite a few targets to hit. There's a fellow, Walter McCoy, and Cameron Rice. Those are probably his favorite targets. Passing game may be the thing that is really a danger. Watching the coverage, Robbinsville might be a little weaker in the coverage, just depending on what they can do with that passing game. You might be right when you look and you say the one thing that did jump off the page when I was doing a little review for Bessemer City is Union Academy, and you're right. This is not the strongest schedule that you would want to see. They lost very badly, I think, to some people like Shelby. It was they played some the tougher teams. They did not perform very well, but give them some momentum. The Yellow Jackets may have some momentum, and I'm talking about the Bessemer City Yellow Jackets going into this. I still probably favor the Bessemer City Yellow Jackets in this one, and I think it's going to be a close one. It's to me, it's almost like who can get the first points on the board, keep the momentum, and that's where you drive from that. And the other part to this, it's going to be played in Bessemer City, so give them just an extra point, little star on their paper this week, but. This one, no, I don't think it's going to be. You're going to look and see like a 45-point game for Bessemer City. This one's going to be a lower scoring, 24-17, 24-21. It's going to be close, and it may come down to even special teams in this football game. But Bessemer City just by an edge.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be close, especially with it being on the road. But let's move down to our final quadrant, North Row A. East Wilkes and Hayesville and Mountain Heritage. Hayesville pulls off the upset of Union Academy, who we were just talking about. East Wilkes beats Albemarle. North Rowan beats Cherryville 41-34, much closer than I think they would have hoped for that game to be. So this 7 versus 10 matchup is going to be good. And then Hayesville pulls off the upset. They get rewarded by having to go play Mountain Heritage, who is playing like the Cougars are playing like their hair is absolutely on fire.
Well, let's see. I think first East Wilkes jumps out fairly early and has a nice lead, but they go to sleep in the second quarter. But the defense keep the Bulldogs at bay, and really Albemarle comes back and starts showing some promise. They have a big third quarter in that football game. So I'm not so impressed with. I've been told by outside people that I give a call to, a couple of other radio announcers and coaches that say, well, what do you know about East Wilkes, or what do you know about Union Academy, or what do you know about Starmount? And this one, I think a lot of them will always side with a Wilkes County team, but in this one, Bulldogs have not had the best of times in their football season, and I'm not so impressed by East Wilkes. I think that North Rowan doesn't necessarily coast to the third round, but I think that this one's going to be a North Rowan football game.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it worries me that they struggled with Cherryville so badly, 41-34, but I still think, that they move on into the third round, and then Hayesville and Mountain Heritage, we can pick that game apart as much as we want, but Trey Graves left his mark in that game against Union Academy, 280 yards, I think, 10-point-something yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. That's the Trey Graves been waiting to see all year. And Hayesville, they've been banged up. They haven't been healthy all season. And I think maybe they are finally starting to get healthy. It just may have come at a too little, too late time of the year.
Well, number one, I just need to say one name, and that's Brandon Quinn for the Mountain Heritage Cougars.
Yeah.
He's a do-it-all type football player. He leads the team with rushing about 150 yards per game, calls his own number quite a bit, but he makes things happen. He's had the bulk of the scoring, and it depends, almost like his attitude. But this is a team that's got everything together. They've weathered the storm, so to speak, in both Mother Nature and anything on the field, and they played some tough teams. This is to me, Mountain Heritage is one of those that can probably make a nice run through the playoffs. They've with everything again close in. Maybe the closest competitor to me was more impressive was actually Robbinsville, losing a couple touchdowns, 28-13 back, but playing some traditional favorites. Although somebody said, "Well, Irwin, you're worried about that," but Irwin has really stepped it up. Not so much again with they had a string of Hendersonville, Avery County, Madison County, but Mitchell, not too bad drawn. They've put everybody away, and I don't see much of this changing with the Hayesville Yellow Jackets. You're going to play in Burnsville. They've got a new turf. Somebody was telling me that they got a whole new football stadium, but no, they changed out their artificial turf. It's a little different playing surface, if that means anything. But I think what really comes down to is they've got some really good football players, and defense. Yeah, while offense is rolling up the points, defense doesn't allow anything. This could be an ugly football game. I'm probably saying like 49-7 with Mountain Heritage taking this football game.
Yeah, I agree. Hayesville past 2 weeks against the Andrews and then against Union Academy, they lit up the scoreboard. They finally found some offense, and maybe they can carry that over here and keep things close for a quarter or two. But Mountain Heritage is just going to out-athlete them, and the depth is going to become a problem. But, we got some good games down the stretch. We're looking at possibly a Robbinsville-Murphy rematch on Black Friday, and God knows we want to see that. We're pulling for all of our Smoky Mountain Conference teams coming down the stretch. Brandon, anything else you want to say before we check out here?
Yeah, it's well, one, good luck to all the Smoky Mountain Conference teams, whether it's Cherokee, Murphy, Robbinsville, Hayesville. Hope you do well. Hope there are no injuries. And if you come up a little short, well, hope you've had fun in the season, but love to see you in the third round. And I think for the dramatic effect, it would be nothing better than to have a Murphy Robbinsville football game in the third round of the state playoffs. Looking to see Braves move on. They haven't moved on to the third round in quite a while. It's been a day or two. Love to see them advance, survive and advance. But just off the subject, so one of the reasons I'm wearing the Harvard colors this morning, talked to Cutler Adams just right before for our show, and the Harvard Yale football game comes up this weekend, and so I was trying to tell Cutler, all right, have a good game, but go Crimson.
All right, Brandon, thanks. We will be back at the same time next week for round 3 coverage, round 2 recap. For Brandon Stevens, this is Jake West. This has been